welcome or welcome back. If you've been to reInvent before, we are so excited you've joined us here this morning. So we've been busy building, innovating, working backwards from a lot of the conversations and a lot of the challenges that you've shared with us in the last 12 months. And we're super excited to share everything that's new in the world of network security to help you protect your infrastructure. So my name is Sofia Aluma Santos. I lead our go-to-market for our network and application protection services inside of our security organization. And I'm joined here by my colleague, Salim Mohammed.
Yes, hi, good morning. My name is Salim Mohammed, and I lead product management for network and application protection at AWS. Welcome to have you here.
Awesome. So Salim's going to join us in a bit to walk through some of the new innovations in network protection, but for now, I'll go ahead and get started. Thank you, Salim. So we've been working backwards from a lot of the conversations that we mentioned. Part of our role is traveling around to different geographies, different geos, to where you are all at, and sharing from you, working backwards from your perspective, your challenges as network security operators. So if you're here, we are assuming that you are fairly familiar with networking, network security, networking on the cloud, some of our security services on AWS. And you're here to learn more about what's new to make your days easier in network security and NetSecOps, and how we can protect your infrastructure in a more streamlined way. So first, we'll work backwards from some of the challenges that we use as kind of the North Star and the guiding principles that we've used to really ensure and guide our roadmap and our security service innovations. We'll also do a quick primer and overview of the services that are in scope, in discussion, in the network and application protection portfolio, and then we'll jump into everything that's new. So as we talk through, teams in network security, you all share different challenges and different pain points that you have to balance when setting out your strategy. The first of which, we all know that we are not on a single architecture type, a single deployment, a single cloud. You have to manage a varying degree of complexity in your architecture decisions. We understand that folks might be operating across cloud or have to support type of hybrid connectivity. So you rely on us to ensure that we match the support, the functionality to make sure that you're connected in the way that you need to. Second is also making sure that you're able to scale and perform and ensure that you're able to ramp up and down as you need to. And you look to us to ensure that we give you the visibility and the ability to do so. A lot of these security decisions are also driven by compliance and data sovereignty regulations, security frameworks that you must adhere to, that we work backwards from to ensure that you're given the ability to prove, to do that, and to meet those standards. So we take all of that into mind when we're building a lot of our new functionality to ensure to give you the visibility and the ability to prove and make sure you're matching those compliance and those security frameworks. All of these decisions, you've told us, takes a toll. All of this takes a cognitive load on your teams. And you've told us, Sophia, every time we see a new service or a new functionality, we have to map this back. We have to understand how this meets our needs, how this relates to everything we've already deployed. Help us ensure that this is intuitive, that this is easy to spin up. So this is definitely something we've kept in mind, and it's on us to ensure that things are easier to start, easier to ramp up, to onboard. We're thinking about things like interoperability, integration, native attachments. So we're abstracting away things that are manual, and you can spend less time in that cognitive load and more time doing things that are your comparative advantage and with your business. Visibility is a key aspect to everything. You've deployed, you've set your rules, your policies, your configurations. How do you know they're working optimally to meet your use cases? We're making sure that across the board, we've made a commitment to adding visibility all across our network suite, and we're super excited to share some of that today. And lastly, this is a fast-paced, high-changing world, right? In the era of AI, how do we know what new threats are evolving in this landscape? We understand that, and given our unique perspective with a global infrastructure that we have, we're able to understand that, take back the insights that we see across our traffic patterns, and make sure we're protecting our local infrastructure, our AWS underlying infrastructure, and more, we're giving you a lot of that threat intelligence to be able to use that into your own solutions, and we'll walk through that as well. So we know there is no such thing as a silver bullet to security, right? Everything is a layered defense in-depth strategy, and we understand that it takes a lot of pieces that you must tackle to ensure that you're layering for defense in depth. But what we're here to talk about today is things inside of the network and application protection space, and here you can see those here in the middle displayed. Now, how do you think about those services? We understand that sometimes it could be challenging to understand how these things work together. So let's walk through that real quick. If you think about a typical web application architecture, if you think about how you're organizing and protecting your traffic as it comes into your network, you definitely want to start with setting up a WAF, a web application firewall, and a Shield Advanced, our anti-DDoS solution, to ensure that you're protecting from threats that are coming into your network. As the traffic is coming in, you move into the idea of segmenting, organizing, and inspecting that traffic inside of the VPCs. So then you can leverage a service like our AWS Network Firewall, which is our cloud-managed native next-gen firewall on AWS, to do things like organizing for east-west, inspecting east-west traffic inside of your VPCs, or we have a lot of customers that jointly with AWS WAF use Network Firewall for ingress inspection and ingress use cases. But by and large, the biggest use cases that we see for Network Firewall is organizing and setting up robust egress or outbound controls. For egress, it is definitely a two-part solution. We want to ensure that folks know to use Network Firewall along with Route 53 Resolver DNS Firewall for that DNS path as well. And then organizing this, right? Organizing this at scale. You have WAF policies, security groups, NACLs to think about, the DNS firewall policies, network firewall, WAFs. How do you make sure that you're able to deploy this from a central location? And that is where services like Firewall Manager come into play, where you're able to organize these, set these up, and configure these, and get central visibility from one place. And Shield Network Security Director, which I'll walk through in a bit, is also meant to give you extra visibility inside of your network resources. And if you're more of a visual person, if you can think about where, as you're moving your traffic through your typical web application architecture, you'll get that WAF and Shield to protect on that ingress path, the network firewall and the DNS firewall to protect both paths out on that egress, and then the Firewall Manager and Shield Network Security Director for that cross management and visibility use case. Now, this is also the team that ensures and manages our AWS underlying global backbone. So we manage and deploy across our global presence, and we're making additional commitment to ensure that you are matching the connectivity, the performance, and the throughput that you need to ensure that you meet your use cases. And with that global presence comes an immense scale of protection. So if you think about everywhere we are deployed and the sheer amount of traffic that we see on a daily basis, think about these are exabytes of data that we analyze and we see through our infrastructure on a minute basis, and thousands of DDoS attacks that we're able to mitigate on a daily basis. All of this comes back into threat research that we can analyze and learn from. So if we think about how we can work backwards from threats, we know that there are threat actors who have threat targets and leave behind threat artifacts or indicators of compromise that we can take, analyze, and build threat intelligence that we can then use to mitigate those further attacks. But here at Amazon and our threat research and threat intelligence teams, we like to take a more proactive approach, and that's the idea of deceptive technology. So we disclosed this project a couple of years ago. If you've heard of MadPot, which is one of our threat research projects inside of Amazon, this is essentially a set of decoys that we've deployed all across our infrastructure. So we have tens of thousands of decoys deployed across our global infrastructure. These are emulating vulnerable services with different variations of vulnerabilities. And we can take that and see, the recon, the type of traffic we observe, insights that we see and take and learn from, and that is integrated and leveraged across our existing services like Shield, like GuardDuty. So now I want to share everything that's new in network visibility. As I mentioned, we've made a commitment and we've understood that folks are asking for greater visibility across their network stack. So in talking to a lot of customers, you've told us, Sophia, I manage a central security team, but I can only do so much by setting guardrails, by setting security baselines. But I have a complex type of architecture, a complex type of business organization. I am inheriting legacy systems, legacy business units with different security teams that are used to doing things a different way. So my central guardrails, unfortunately, only go so far, and I have to grant exceptions to these teams. And how do I know what these teams have actually deployed? I also have to give my development teams and my app teams a certain degree of autonomy, right? I want them to have the autonomy to work fast and build fast. But now, how do I know if they've deployed correctly, if I have things configured, or what even exists out there? So this is where that Shield Network Security Director service comes into play. So we announced this a couple of months ago. It is currently in preview, so you can try this out at no cost. And that is essentially the use cases that we're trying to solve. Primary piece is giving you that visibility into your network. It will first scan your network resources and give you a topology view of what exists. It'll give you various findings and give you different severity levels that you can take a look at and triage based upon our AWS best practices, and we'll set recommendations based on those best practices. And if you have any questions, there's an integration with Amazon Q Developer where you can ask things of your network from a natural language basis. So it's really easy to get started. Essentially, you start a network analysis and that'll start a scan. You'll choose the accounts that you want to scan, and it'll show you first that topology view. It'll show you what is connected to what the relationships are, and you can basically double click and drill into each piece and those findings and those recommendations. It's important to note here, we may be familiar with similar type of topology maps The key thing is here, you will see everything in the map, no matter if there is a finding associated with something or a type of vulnerability or risk, whether it's there or not. The key thing is visibility. So you'll be able to see everything that is, even if it does not have any findings associated to it. You'll be able to also drill into the type of findings in different ways. We have different widgets and dashboards where you'll be able to drill into different types of resource types, filter by those types, filter by different severity levels. And then this is that queue piece where if you choose to, this is not a requirement of the service, but if you choose to, you can ask specific questions based on your use case to get drilled into everything that is in your network posture. So we've also added additional visibility across the rest of our firewalls as well. The first of which is on AWS WAF. Now, we understood that you needed additional visibility into understanding whether your WAF policies, your rules, were working as you expected them to. So this new dashboard experience gives you that additional visibility to where, for instance, if you have teams that have set all of your WAF policies to alert mode and you are expecting, for instance, for them to be blocking, you'll be able to easily see what percentage of your WAF estate is set on alert or block for easy triage to understand why it might not be behaving or why it is behaving the way that you expected to. Additionally, you'll be able to see things like where you're seeing traffic hitting your WAF and hitting your network. So you might have and operate in a specific region, in a specific geo. So you should not expect to see traffic in different geos. Now you'll be able to easily see those in this dashboard experience as well. In tandem with that, we've reduced the price on the CloudWatch logs for this new dashboard experience. So now that gives you essentially a more predictable cost structure for that. Moving on to network firewall. So previously, we had an open sourced dashboard that you could spin up and get traffic insights for network firewall. We have now announced a new native console dashboard experience as well on network firewall, where you'll be able to see traffic insights, things like top talkers, and different ways to help you optimize your traffic. For instance, things like things that might be good recommendations for a private link endpoint. So we have customers that may not need to scan all their traffic through network firewall. This new dashboard experience essentially bubbles up things that are great private link candidates where you can route your traffic through that trusted private link destination and be on your way. All right, moving on to everything that's new in the world of application and edge protection. So we've touched on WAF, and I mentioned we're trying to essentially make it as easy as possible for you to get started and spin up on your WAF web ACLs. So we have revamped the creation of the web ACL experience. Previously, it was a very DIY type of experience. Now we've radically made it easier to give you protection packs and starter packs where we recommend rule types for you to get started. Additionally, just this week, we launched a CloudFront Plus security bundled flat rate prices. So this includes CloudFront, WAF, DDoS, and Route 53 DNS protections in a simplified flat rate price. This is aimed at our founder persona where folks are asking us to give them predictability in their pricing to make sure that they're able to be protected and be on their way. So new to getting started on WAF, you'll now be able to essentially tell the experience, what type of application you're trying to build. And based on that type of application, be it like an e-commerce or a banking application, we'll essentially recommend different rules to get you started based on that type of application. So as previously you see far at the end, the only experience that before this new starter pack protection packs allowed, it was only a DIY type of experience. Now you'll be able to leverage these new recommended kind of configuration packs to get you started easier. Also new to WAF is a new Layer 7 anti-DDoS protection managed rule. Now, I know we mentioned that Shield Advanced is our anti-DDoS service. We have now brought in DDoS protections as a managed rule onto WAF. If you're a Shield Advanced customer, this is included in that subscription. So you know these work in tandem. But this now essentially gives folks additional configuration and tunability, visibility, where we were hearing from a lot of customers that they wanted greater visibility into how these DDoS protections were working. Essentially now with this managed rule, we're able to extend greater configuration, greater tunability, and greater visibility in that Layer 7 type of protection. And lastly, new to WAF, we've added in this age of AI, it's really important to ensure that you are able to authenticate AI agents. So we are now leveraging cryptographic signatures on HTTP for verification, and this will now automatically verify against in the category AI bots as well. All right. Now I'll hand it off to Salim, who will walk us through everything that's new in the world of network protection. Thanks.
Thank you, Sophia. All right. So Sophia just provided an overview of network and application protection portfolio. Then she shared some enhancements in the space of threat intelligence and visibility. And finally, she talked about some innovations in application protection space. Now I'm going to focus on network protection. When it comes to network protection, you generally face three unique challenges. First is cyber threats are constantly changing and becoming more sophisticated, which means that staying ahead of these threats requires that you continue to adapt your defenses. That takes us to challenge number 2, which is your teams are already spread too thin, and finding the right skill set can be challenging. This actually results in additional time it may take for you to detect threats, analyze data, and take remediation action. And this challenge is also connected to challenge number 3, which is you need insights. You need visibility into how your applications are talking to each other and outside of your environment so that you can identify threats quickly and take remediation actions. All of this makes network protection critical and complex. Today, I'll talk about a couple of AWS services that can help in this space. First one is Amazon Route 53 Resolver DNS Firewall, and second is AWS Network Firewall. Amazon Route 53 DNS Resolver DNS Firewall is a fully managed service that helps you block DNS queries to malicious domains and allows DNS resolution to trusted domains. It is a fully managed service that you can deploy centrally to provide coverage across multiple VPCs. The way you can write policy is either by creating your own custom domain lists or using one of the Amazon-provided managed domain lists. The service provides full logging capability so that you can meet compliance or perform your own auditing. It also provides advanced DNS security functionalities, for example, protection against DGA attacks or DNS tunneling. Second service is AWS Network Firewall. This is our cloud next-gen firewall, which offers stateful inspection. It provides IDS and IPS capabilities, as well as TLS decryption, so you can crack open the packet, do deep packet inspection, and then re-encrypt and send it to the destination. This is a fully managed, highly available, and auto-scaling capability which essentially means that as your traffic increases, we'll automatically add additional capacity to your firewalls all the way to 100 gigabit per second. This service also supports full logging capability. There are two types of logs that it supports, flow logs as well as alert logs. The way you write the rules, you can write them in alert mode so you can get visibility, allow, or block based on the actions that you take. The way that you deploy this firewall is, one, to either provide protection for ingress traffic, basically any threats that are coming from the internet into your VPCs. You can deploy it for east-west protection across VPCs, across regions. Or third, which is the most common one, is egress protection to protect any traffic that is going from your VPCs out to the internet. Because this is one of the most common deployment options that customers take, let's take a little bit of a deeper dive into it. When looking at egress protection, there are multiple choices that are available to you. Some choices are free of charge, for example, stateful security groups or stateless network ACLs. We already talked about DNS firewall to provide you protection at DNS layer. And then you have some choices by using middle boxes such as third-party firewalls or AWS network firewall. In some cases, there are some customers who require an explicit proxy. So far, their choice had been to use one of the third-party explicit proxies and manage it themselves. But very recently, we actually have a new service that we made available. It's a fully managed explicit egress proxy that is offered as a new resource type under AWS Network Firewall. So the existing firewall, it operates as a transparent appliance, but this new resource type offers explicit egress function as well. You can deploy egress proxy on your NAT gateway, which makes it very simple because a lot of traffic is going to taking the egress path, and NAT gateway is generally part of that flow. The way it works is when the traffic comes into the proxy, you can create pre-DNS filtering. So essentially, it looks at the domains and filters out any communication that is going to malicious or unallowed domains. After that, the proxy will do a DNS resolution. Once the DNS resolution is done, you can do another filtering based on post-DNS information. If the traffic is authorized, it goes to the destination, and when the response comes back from the server, you can do another analysis based on the response coming back from the servers and using the header attributes in the response. The service also supports TLS decryption, so you can definitely use that. It supports logging capability, just like the existing firewall resource type, so you can meet compliance and auditing requirements. Basically, you can use this to perform the same functions that other firewalls provide, basically to protect against data exfiltration or attacks that are based on malwares. Coming back to the existing firewall resource type, there are two ways generally in which you have been deploying firewalls. One is distributed firewall deployment, which is a form where you deploy a firewall within VPC and manage it as an individual resource. Then there is another type, which is centralized deployment, typically deployed by a centralized cloud infrastructure, cloud security team, where they will have a transit gateway. And with the transit gateway, you can create an inspection VPC where you'll deploy a firewall and route traffic through it. It's a very scalable approach if you have lots and lots of VPCs and you're centrally managing your traffic for either east-west or egress path. Very recently, actually, around reinforced time frame, we simplified the centralized inspection process. We actually made available a native TGW attachment. So within Transit Gateway, you enable native firewall attachment. We will take the responsibility of creating the inspection VPC, creating the firewall, creating the subnet, and creating the route table entries to route traffic through Transit Gateway and through this inspection VPC and the firewall. All you have to do is point your traffic to the native attachment, and we'll take care of the rest. Now, leveraging the same capability, a couple of weeks ago, we enhanced this the centralized deployment model even further. And this time, we are taking the simplification on the cost allocation side. So if you are from a centralized cloud infrastructure or cloud security team, what you have been telling us is that you are processing traffic through transit gateway and network firewall centrally and taking on the cost burden for all of that data processing yourself. The more your environments grow, the more application teams that you're servicing, the amount of volume grows, and then it becomes very difficult for you to get visibility into which applications are generating more cost burden for you. With flexible cost allocation, we are simplifying that entire process. So within Transit Gateway, you create a cost allocation policy. Based on that policy, you can attribute the cost of data processing in TGW and network firewall to either the payer account owner of the source attachment, destination attachment, or the centralized cloud infrastructure team that owns network firewall and transit gateway. You can create this policy at attachment level or more granularly at the flow level. This native attachment is our recommended way of deploying centralized deployment, because going forward, there will be a lot more enhancements that will be added to this kind of functionality. Now, switching gears towards threat intelligence, there are a couple of things that I'll talk about, both in the space of or in the area of managed rule groups. First is Active Threat Defense, which is an Amazon-provided managed rule group. Earlier, Sophia was talking about Matpot, which is Amazon's own globally deployed infrastructure of honeypots or digital decoys. Our threat researchers actually expose these digital decoys as vulnerable services to attract interaction from malicious actors. Through that interaction, we learn about their TTPs and use that threat intelligence to protect AWS infrastructure. You have been asking us to provide the same threat intelligence that we have to protect AWS infrastructure and make it available for you so that you can protect your workloads and VPCs as well. So Active Threat Defense is our answer to that. This rule group is generated based on the threat intelligence that is exactly coming directly from Matpot. Once you deploy it on network firewall, we will make sure that we keep it updated. So as soon as we detect a threat which is active, we will add it to the rule group, and as soon as we realize that one of the threats is not active anymore and it becomes stale, we'll remove the rule that is associated with that. And we do it at a 10-minute interval. So every 10 minutes, if there is a change in the threat landscape that we have visibility into, we'll make the update. If there is no change, then we'll let it go, right? So once you deploy it, there is no need for any manual action. You can deploy the rule group either in alert mode to get visibility, or you can deploy it in block mode to get visibility, as well as take the simultaneous block action on that. This is exactly how it works. In your VPCs, you have firewalls. This firewall can be deployed in a distributed deployment model, basically a firewall in every VPC, or in a centralized deployment model with Transit Gateway. The middle box is essentially all of the processing that we take ownership of. Our security engineers are detecting the threats, they're analyzing it, they're processing it, they're making sure that the threats that they have identified are actually real. Once we are sure of that, at that point, we automatically update the rule groups. Okay. Now, the second area that I want to talk about is you have been telling us that when you write firewall rules, you can, of course, write custom rules. But in many cases, you already have existing relationships with some security vendors. You're procuring threat intelligence and using it either on-prem or in other clouds or in your firewall as well. So the current mode of procuring this third-party threat intelligence and applying it on network firewall has been to use the custom rules, which is a manual process and adds operational burden on you. You have been asking us to simplify that entire process. Recently, actually a couple of weeks ago, we announced partner-managed rule groups on network firewall. These rule groups are based on partner-generated threat intelligence that is available through Marketplace. The way you deploy this is you go to AWS Network Firewall console. Within the console, you have stateful managed rule groups. That's where you can learn about all of the partners and their unique managed rule groups that are available to you. You can learn more about what type of rule groups that they provide, what kind of coverage they provide within the console itself. Once you have selected the rule group that you want to deploy, you hit the subscribe button, and we'll automatically take care of all of the back-end functions and make the rule group available to you. The step after that is essentially taking that rule group and applying it to your firewall, and you're done. Behind the scene, partners are taking the responsibility. As soon as they have a change to make on the rule group, they will automatically make the change. You will not be in the process. Essentially, you do not have to take any kind of static action or manual action to get the updated rule groups. You can deploy it either in alert mode, once again, just like active threat defense, to get visibility into the threat activity, or in block mode, which will give you both the visibility as well as simultaneously block the communication to the malicious infrastructure. There are 7 partners that have launched these managed rule groups with us. I will quickly cover their uniqueness, what type of managed rule groups that they offer, and how they can benefit your environments. First is Checkpoint. Checkpoint is a global cybersecurity company that offers or provides a wide range of security solutions. They are a pioneer in stateful firewall and now offer AI-powered, cloud-delivered security solutions. Their managed rule group for AWS Network Firewall is based on their Threat Cloud AI experts that automatically create this rule group and make sure that it is updated so that you can get protection in the areas of CVEs or OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities. Second partner is Fortinet, which is a well-known cybersecurity company and offers next-gen firewalls. Their managed rule groups are based on the threat research that their FortiGuard lab provides. It's the same threat research that is available to you as a Fortinet customer across the globe. So if you are using Fortinet, for example, in on-prem or in other clouds, you can bring the same threat intelligence and apply it on AWS side as well. They offer managed IPS rule groups for AWS Network Firewall that help you protect against exploits, vulnerabilities, and C2 attacks. Infoblox unites networking, security, and cloud to protect you or basically integrate with their protective DDI platform so that enterprise can get agility and resilience. Their managed rule groups are based on their predictive DNS threat intelligence. At Infoblox's scale, with 70 billion events detected every day or 4 million indicators every month, with 90% pre-query detections, you get faster protection with low noise and high impact. Next up is Lumen, which is a global communication service provider that integrates products and services in the space of networking and security. Their Defender managed rule group is available on Network Firewall based on the unique threat intelligence that they generate through Black Lotus Labs. It is their own threat intelligence team, Black Lotus Labs, that identifies and neutralizes hundreds of emerging threats, leveraging their backbone level visibility. Then we have Rapid7 that offers products and services in the space of detection and response. Their products include vulnerability risk management, attack surface management, as well as managed detection and response. The product that they offer, basically the managed rule groups, are self-cleaning and expert vetted and provide coverage in 2 specific areas. One is advanced persistent threat. This is where they protect against state-sponsored or sophisticated attacks, or ransomware, which is essentially providing you protection against financially motivated attacks. ThreatStop is a cloud-based threat intelligence company that generates their threat intelligence across thousands of resources globally. They convert that into actionable policies that are made available to you in your routers, firewalls, or DNS servers. ThreatStop already offers managed rule groups for AWS WAF, so now they're extending their managed rule groups to network firewall so you can get network layer protection as well. Their rule groups provide ingress protection as well as egress protection and help you meet compliance with ITAR and OFAC. Lastly, we have Trend Micro, which is a well-known CNAPP or cloud-native application protection platform with expertise in protecting your environments in the cloud. Their managed rule groups are based on their digital vaccine program, which customers are already using to protect their cloud environments. And the specialization that they offer with their managed rule groups on network firewall is to protect you against zero-day attacks. So they have a program called Trend Zero-Day Initiative that generates the threat intelligence, and by using this managed rule group, you are protected faster from the zero-day vulnerabilities that are out there. To summarize, we talked about some enhancements in the area of threat intelligence and visibility. We talked about some onboarding enhancements for application protection and network protection. We also talked about a new resource type of explicit proxy within AWS Network Firewall. Before we leave, I wanted to share there are some additional sessions that are available for you to learn more about our firewalls, ingress protection, egress protection, and overall network and application protection. With that said, I hope you found our session to be informative and the journey very exciting. Both Sophia and I, we will stick around here for a while. If you have any questions and would like to share your feedback, we'll really appreciate it. With that, thank you so much.